Hey, this is the national treasure, Nick Aldis, and you're listening to the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. We are your host. He's the Stallion. I'm the Enforcer. It is bright and early on a Thursday, and we are here to talk everything about Bronson Reed.
The colossal Bronson Reed?
Wait, do I have the wrong notes? Is that we're not?
You have notes today? I actually didn't bring my notes today, so I'm going digital today.
Oh no, too much poison. Yeah, so we're talking everything AEW All Out today. Coming off a very story-centric AEW Dynamite episode of last night, leading into what should be a very, very strong pay-per-view this Saturday. And notice, Joe, I said pay-per-view. I heard Conrad was talking to, I think it was Arn Anderson, about how, gone are the days of the pay-per-view where it was kind of must-see television, right? Like, when we watch, how many times do you start a WWE event or whatever the shit they call it, and you watch it later, you pause it, because it's on the network, you could always go back and watch it, right? Like, if you're watching an AEW pay-per-view or anything on Fight TV, not just AEW, but it is almost like old school. All right, gather around the TV. We're watching this shit right now. We're not going to wait 6 hours with spoilers and stuff like that. We have to watch it right now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, I guess, with the network, right? That, they give you that ability, which is cool. But at the same time, I almost never am able to sit, watch pay-per-views live unless I really make an effort to do so. I'm always starting it late or, watching a piece of it Sunday night and part of it the next day or whatever it is. So, with AEW only having 4 major pay-per-views a year and literally being pay-per-views, as you said, kind of gives people a reason to gather and watch it and make sure that you're at the television when the show starts.
And I don't want anybody to think we're knocking WWE for what they do, because I appreciate it so much that I'm able to do that. But I feel like it just takes a little... It takes a little of the must-see out of it. And I think one of the things Arn Anderson said in the show was, he's like, it's our job at the pay-per-view to deliver something to you that you're not going to see during the week. And I think that mindset is what I really appreciate. And I'm not just watching the pay-per-view as an extension. Like last week's Payback was an extension of SmackDown to me. There was no different. But listen, I'm not paying for it, so I can't really bitch. If AEW does that and it's like an overextended Dynamite episode, I would be pretty bummed about it. But I think with that mindset, we should have a good show this Saturday.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think these things are probably the AEW booking mindset seems to be since they have the 4 pay-per-views a year, that these pay-per-views are supposed to be like the culmination of the closing of a lot of the storylines that they have, right? So whereas WWE has so many pay-per-views and so many TV shows each week, that a lot of times it's continuation of things. So I would expect a lot of these storylines that are happening on the show to end. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them will come to their culmination here at pay-per-view. So there are 9 matches listed for AEW All Out this weekend. One of those is a pre-show match, and 8 of them will be on the main card. So if you're ready, Mike, I can tee it off here for us and start running down the card.
I am ready. The only thing I will say to you is, we last time we went head-to-head in anything, don't think I forgot. This weekend with the Pro Wrestling Tees 20% off Labor Day sale, I will be purchasing you a shirt that you won in the New Japan Cup bracketology. So we might be ordering shirts this weekend. Actually, you're going to be, but one of those shirts, it's on me for your genius and wisdom in the New Japan Cup, and I'm a sack of shit. So,
well, I appreciate that. I mean, it was a very close contest, so I mean, I don't think that.
I think I actually had more wrestlers correct, but you had Ibushi or somebody going to the finals with the extra point scale, and you're just smarter than me, better looking, and you're going to live longer. That's really what I'm getting.
No, none of that's true, but I appreciate the sentiment. So, all right. So on the pre-show, we have Britt Baker versus Big Swole in a tooth and nail match. Now, I'm going to be.
Is Dokken going to be there?
I don't think Dawkins going to be there, but
I wanted to play it, but we totally would have got the licensing. Dawkins' Tooth and Nail is one of the greatest songs of all time. So that's why I said that. But continue.
So this feud's been going on for a few months. Britt, of course, had a knee injury from a few months back, so she's been on the show regularly. However, building this match up, she is officially going to have her first one-on-one match back at this pay-per-view. She has been feuding with Big Swole for a while, even though she hasn't been able to wrestle. And she's been a very entertaining character, and this is a way for Big Swole to, I guess, be featured on the show. This past week on Dynamite, last night actually, Britt got the upper hand on Big Swole, put her face in some pizza, and things like that. So it's been one of those things where she's kind of made Big Swole jump through a lot of hoops to get the match, and she has done so. I'm a little torn on this one. I feel like Britt is the featured player, and she should probably win. But after how things went down last night, I wonder if they'll have Big Swole get the win here. But I'm going to go with Britt. I think Britt should be the winner in this match, and they should be building her up. So I'm going to say that since she's back, Britt Baker gets the win.
As long as Britt can wrestle and she's healthy, she's where the money is in the AEW women's division. I like Big Swole. I think, she's got a very bright future. I don't mean that condescendingly, but I think the right now is Britt Baker. She's kind of carried that division, and she got injured twice, and it really sucked. And I wanted to see her be really the face of the AEW women's division. So for match 1, I got the dentist, Britt Baker, DMD.
All right, so now on to the main card. I'm just going to run down these in whatever order they're listed on Wikipedia. The first match we have here is a rematch it is a Broken Rules match between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. And if Matt Hardy loses, he has to leave AEW. So that is the stipulation in this match. I don't know exactly what a Broken Rules match is. I just assume it's like no DQ or no holds barred type of thing. So this got started, I think, with Matt Hardy was pretty complimentary of Sammy Guevara being like a feature star. And of course, Sammy being a heel didn't really go for that mentorship and, as being part of the inner circle. They had an angle a couple of weeks ago after Sammy returned for suspension where, the story is that Sammy threw a chair at Matt's head, and it was not a gimmicked chair. It was a real chair because he was grabbed the wrong chair in a panic or whatever it was and busted Matt open hard way and then put him through a table. Hardy got some revenge. They ended up having a tables match on Dynamite 2 weeks ago, and Sammy Guevara won that match. So this is now a rematch for the pay-per-view. Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara. If Matt Hardy loses, he has to leave AEW.
Also, there was a receipt given to Sammy G on a pretty hard way gash on his head, too. So I wonder how that all came about. But I don't – now, is it Matt Hardy has to leave AEW or Matt Hardy cannot wrestle in AEW again? Because I think I've heard both.
I mean, the listing here says – he has to leave AEW. In the video package last night, it said I saw a promo from him, and he says, "If I don't win, I'll leave." That's what he said.
I don't see Matt Hardy leaving AEW, but I don't see Sammy Guevara losing. So I'm going to say Sammy G gets the win here. He gets the Duke over the veteran Matt Hardy. And can't you say Matt Hardy left, but another vessel shows up, if you will. So I think there's a way to circumvent that whole stipulation. So I'm going to say Sammy G gets the win here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when I first saw the match, I was thinking, all right, well, Hardy will win because he's not going to go anywhere. But then when I thought about it some more, I think the whole purpose of this really should be to get Sammy Guevara over if they're looking to push him now. Yeah, and it seems like that they are, right? Even before the suspension and after the suspension that he had. So I think that the thing to do is to have Sammy win, and Matt Hardy will, go off TV. Maybe he could be a backstage agent or producer or something for them. I'm not sure if that's his plan. I'm just speculating, but I think that's the move. I like Matt Hardy. I have a lot of respect for Matt Hardy, but I'm not sure at this point in time, in 2020, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of benefit.
Meat on the bone?
Yeah, for him to be on TV regularly. So if this is a way to put somebody over on his way to kind of semi-retirement, I think that's the way to go, and I'm going with Sammy G as well.
Yeah, and I think once the crowds open back up and his music hits, it'll be like it'll be like that kind of return that everybody wanted when it was an empty arena in the first place. So, yeah, I'm with it. Sammy G gets the Duke, the John Wayne.
The next match we have is a tag team match. It is the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. So this match basically was just recently made last night on Dynamite. They had an 8-man tag match where the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express won the match, and as a result, they have to face each other at the pay-per-view. The biggest thing with the Young Bucks is that they were eliminated from the Gauntlet match on Dynamite 2 weeks ago as a result of Adam Page interference, costing them the match, which is the big storyline in the tag team division right now between Page and Omega, the Bucks and FTR. So I just think the Bucks, of course, showed a little bit of an edge last night on television, being frustrated about things with Adam Page and not being in the tag title match this weekend. I just think this is a situation where the Bucks are going to win, show a little bit more of that edge, because I think it's all going to wind up with maybe a 3-way tag match with Omega and Page and FTR at some point. So I'm going to go with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, I think the Young Bucks get a win here. I think it should be a decent match, but I feel like it should be a dominant match, kind of like that whole Adam Page costing them the title opened up a darker side of them, more pissed off kind of thing, where they should just go out there and beat the ever-loving shit out of Jungle Boy. No offense, Jungle Boy. I love – actually, you know what? No. You know they should beat the ever-loving shit out of? Luchasaurus Douche. That's what they should do. They should Meltzer driver Luchasaurus from the top of Daly's place. That's what I want. I want them to take down the damn dinosaur. The Bucks get the win here, Joe.
That was exceedingly violent, more than I expected. But I agree. All right, so we're 3 for 3 in these matches so far in terms of predictions. So
a lot of pre-workout course that threw me, man. I'm ready.
8-man tag team match. It is the Dark Order, which I will now refer to as TDO, versus Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and the Natural Nightmares of Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. So the basis really for this is Cody, right? So Brody Lee beat Cody for the TNT Championship on the Saturday night edition of Dynamite a couple weeks back. Really decimated him, destroyed him. After the match, Cody did a stretcher job. They beat him up some more. And really the Dark Order had like a pretty strong beatdown of a lot of these guys after the fact. So Dustin Rhodes, of course, being the brother of Cody, Matt Cardona being a close friend, QT Marshall, Nightmare Family, Scorpio Sky came out for the save. So that they kind of put all these guys together in an 8-man tag match against TDO. So what are your thoughts here on this one? I have pretty strong feelings about this match, but why don't you tell me yours? We go ahead first.
As far as the Dark Order, it's Uno, Grayson, and the Beaver Boys, right?
So this lists Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Uno, and Grayson.
Oh, shit. Okay. So here's what I feel like will and should happen. The Dark Order should absolutely win. Not even remotely close. Somebody that should shine from the face team should be Scorpio Sky. And QT or Dustin should be taking the pin. Clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring. And frankly, I would not be surprised to see the Dark Order offer a position to Scorpio Sky.
There you go. I mean, that's certainly something they could do in terms of storyline development. But I agree with everything you said as far as...
Yeah. When the booker agrees with you, you know you're doing something right.
The goal of the match, I think, should be to continue the Dark Order being on a roll until, when Cody comes back, whenever that might be. So I am going to go with the Dark Order to get the win. TDO.
5 for 5? What are we, 4 for 4?
There we go. Well, this one might change things. So we have the 21-man Casino Battle Royal. The winner receives a future AEW World Championship match. So based off of what I'm reading here, assuming I can count correctly, there are 17 participants that have been named as part of the 21-man Battle Royal. So there's still 4 spots that are open. And I'm going to run through the names for you here as quickly but eloquently as possible. So here we go. Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, Butcher, Blade, Eddie Kingston, Sean Spears, Billy of the Gun Club, Austin Gunn.
The Gum Club.
The Gum Club, yeah. Austin Gunn, Jake Hager, Santana, Ortiz, Chuck Taylor, and Trent, plus mystery people.
I have 18.
Okay.
I'm also incompetent. Okay, so and the winner gets a title shot at the AEW World title, right?
Yes.
Not for nothing. Listening to that list, there are probably 9 or 10 people that at some point I think could be challenging John Moxley for the title. Even if they went with somebody like a Pentagon, to really, or, anybody. It's a really good, like, I don't see Butcher and Blade winning. There are just some teams that it's not going to happen. But I think I'm going to go with Darby Allin. I think Darby and Moxley had a little bit of a story. Sorry, I texted you last night as I'm watching the show. I'm like, I don't remember this many storylines leading into a battle royal in ever. It kind of makes it it makes it a little more interesting to me. And Eddie Kingston, my heart says Eddie Kingston. I want Eddie Kingston to win. My mind says Darby Allin wins. I don't know if any of people have been rumored for the other 4 spots. I don't read the dirt sheets. I don't know. But Darby Allin is my pick. Eddie Kingston is where my heart is. But, I'm going to go with Darby.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of different people I think that could win this. Brian Cage, I think, had won a ladder match to get a title shot. I'm going to go with Lance Archer, I think. And I think it's really just because he's been built up pretty strong, and I feel like he could be a worthy, in-between feud for Moxley, depending on who his next major feud is going to be. I don't know who that's going to be, but I think that would be the next step. And that's assuming Moxley wins the title, not to give away my pick for the main event, or keeps the title rather. So I'm going to go with Lance, not knowing, of course, some of the mystery folks. Last time we did something like this, Brian Cage was a mystery entrant and he won. So that wouldn't surprise me if that happened. But officially, based off the entrance I know, I'm going with the Murder Hawk.
Yeah, and based on the entrance that you read, it should be a pretty damn good battle royal. I'm totally in on anything Ricky Starks does, by the way. That dude has – in NWA, I was like, oh, he's a good talent. And when he got to AEW, I was like, man, he's pretty funny. And now, like, the dude is hilarious. When he took Excalibur's coffee on AEW Dark, and then Taz was berating him for not shooting the half Nelson. He's really good stuff. Ricky Starks has really won me over, I would say.
There you go. Building talent, novel concept, right? Now we have the AEW Women's World Championship match, which is Hikaru Shida versus the NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa. So this was announced a couple weeks back. Hikaru Shida had opened up a challenge to anybody who wanted to face her for the AEW Women's title. Clearly the NWA and AEW brokered some sort of deal or agreement to allow this to occur. And Thunder Rosa made her debut in the ring on Dynamite last night, the victory over Serena Deeb. So it's been only a few weeks of buildup, but I think there's, at least for me, being a fan of all the different promotions or many different promotions across the world, I suppose. It's interesting to see Thunder Rosa here in AEW and challenging Hikaru Shida for the Women's World Championship. I think it will be a very good match. They're both very good wrestlers, but I do not see Hikaru Shida losing the championship this weekend. So I'm going to say Hikaru Shida gets the win.
Part of me is wondering, does Hikaru Shida still live in Japan? Do you know?
I do not know.
I'm wondering if she's living in Japan, making it difficult to get over here, and they do the switch and put the title on Thunder Rosa, who lives in Texas. I'm just throwing that out there. I think it should be a fantastic match. Thunder Rosa we had on the podcast probably 3 years ago, Joe?
A few years back, we had Thunder Rosa on the podcast when she was primarily on the indies. So it was pre-NWA.
Yeah, she was teaming with Holly Dead. The tag team name escapes me. But Thunder Rosa, I was in the last 18 months, has really gained a lot of notoriety from the NWA. NWA's done a really good job. They did some really good video packages on her. And kudos to Billy Corgan and Tony Khan for working this out. Is this going to open the door for a Nick Aldis, the real world champ, Cody Rhodes match down the line? I don't know. Eddie Kingston, formerly of the NWA, Ricky Starks, formerly of the NWA, now Thunder Rosa. So I don't know what Billy Corgan is doing, but I appreciate it. as far as the match goes, it's going to be technical by the book, but I think I'm going to go with you on this one, and I'm going to say Shida keeps the belt. There is a possibility of Thunder Rosa to switch, but I just think there's a lot of momentum behind Shida, and unless she does have travel issues, it'd be the right move. And then if Britt Baker gets the win, you can kind of build that up.
There you go. I believe the tag team name was Twisted Sisters, if I'm not mistaken.
So good at this.
All right, next up, the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It is Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus FTR with Tully Blanchard. So,
it's going to be so good. I'm sorry. It's going to be so fucking good. I cannot wait for this match, Joe.
As mentioned earlier, yes, I agree with you. The big storyline here has kind of been intertwined with the Young Bucks. FTR has been palling around with Hangman Page, drinking beer with him and stuff. And basically the idea was, the insinuation was that they got into Adam Page's head and he cost the Young Bucks their gauntlet match 2 weeks ago, which FTR ended up winning and getting the title shot. So last night they had a big promo segment where, FTR basically said they got into Page's head. They didn't really tell him to do anything. He was just influenced by his own,
insecurities.
Correct. And, him and Omega have had like an on-again, off-again situation where they're on the same page and they're not on the same page or whatever it is. So that's kind of where we are now. Are Page and Omega, can they be on the same page? What's inside Adam Page's head? FTR has been on a roll. They haven't lost since coming to AEW. So and now they have Tully Blanchard. So I'll let you go first, buddy. I'll let you make the pick here.
Before I get into this tag team match, it just dawned on me. We're talking about the NWA. We're talking about women's wrestling. I'd like to put over the shirt. Lindsay Snow, friend of the show, the American Kaiju Lindsay Snow, and talent of the NWA. I think she is somebody that could make quite a big splash in the AEW women's division at some point. If we're not going to see NWA come back, I'd love to see Lindsay Snow over there, get a shot. And she'd have some really competitive matches, to say the least. So thanks for the tank top, by the way. Now that we're getting into the tag match, the AEW has done such a good job of planting like little hints here and there. I think it was last week where they were interviewing Hangman backstage after he tripped up the Bucks, and there were 2 beers on the side, like clearly on the other side of the bar for FTR, who never showed up. So they kind of just, maybe they made him think something. They were some sort of a trios, if you will, or there was going to be a spot for him, and they kind of just made him play himself. I didn't see on BTE, which admittedly I haven't watched. There's been so much wrestling and stuff like that. I haven't gotten a chance to watch that as much as I'd like. There was a glimpse of Kenny Omega in a rearview mirror with the shades on, looking like the cleaner. The Young Bucks are teetering that. Dude, there's so many storylines. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. And that is, what a fucking concept, Joe. Like, we can't predict what's going to happen. I think FTR are the standard bearers of the tag team division. I think maybe this will be the final straw for Omega and Hangman. And I think we might see the cleaner. I don't know if he's going to, my initial thought is he's going to be the leader of the New Horseman stable. You figure you do the cleaner, you do the FTR and Shawn Spears. I don't know. But I don't see FTR losing their first tag team match, especially with Tully Blanchard at ringside. So I'm saying FTR, new AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think this is a spot where they should change the titles. Hangman and Omega have had it for a while, and I think they deserved it, and they've had a lot of great matches. But I think just given the nature of the storyline, it would dictate to me that they should lose the titles here to FTR. And you could still, of course, keep them in the title picture with the Young Bucks. Maybe they're building up a 3-way tag match. Maybe they're not. Maybe they'll branch off Hangman and Omega, and they'll have them face the Young Bucks again. But I think that FTR should win the titles here. As you said, they're with Tully Blanchard. It's their first tag team title opportunity in AEW, and they are undefeated. So I'm going to say FTR wins the AEW tag team titles. 2 matches left, buddy. Next up is the Mimosa Mayhem match. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. This is the 3rd in the series for them. Match can be won by pinfall, submission, or throwing your opponent into a tank of Mimosa. First ever Mimosa Mayhem match.
Where would you compare this? How would you compare this to the Human Torch match between Vampiro and Sting?
I don't know. I think my thought here is I'm pretty sure that Jericho is looking to use this as a way to help build up or push Orange Cassidy some more, right? So he had the first match with him, which was very good on television, and Jericho won. They had the rematch, and Orange Cassidy won. And now they're doing this one as a 3rd. And the feud's been going on for a while. There's been a lot of inner circle beatdowns on Orange Cassidy and things like that. My sense is that Cassidy will win the match by throwing Jericho into the Mimosa. Maybe that's not what they're going to do, but I think, Jericho doesn't take a pinfall or submission in the match, but he'll lose the match. He'll have the moment where he gets thrown into the Mimosa, and they'll probably make it a big, comedy type thing where he overreacts to it or whatever it is that goes on, and Orange Cassidy will win the feud.
Will Ortiz be taking bumps in the Mimosa? Because that is really what I'm looking forward to the most.
We can only hope, buddy. But I'm going to go with OC.
From the I Can't Swim to him taking flatbacks in the orange juice. Such good shit. So you're going to go with OC. I am going to echo your sentiments, literally word for word, everything you said. Because Chris Jericho can lose at WrestleMania to a Fandango leg drop, the man can lose to anybody and not be affected by it. So, and like you, again, falling into Mimosa is not taking a clean 1, 2, 3. And I think they learned from the John Cena, Kevin Owens trilogy of yesteryear that if you want to get the new guy over, you don't have him lose 2 in a row. So I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy getting the win here too.
Here we go. All right, and here we are, main event time. It's the AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley versus the number 1 contender, MJF. Stipulation here is that the paradigm shift is Moxley is banned from using the paradigm shift. I should be specific about that. That way, in case MJF decides he wants to use it. So Moxley is banned from using the paradigm shift here. They've been building this for a while. Of course, MJF is the number 1 contender. He's done his campaign to get a title shot, which has turned into a nice, fun bit on the show each week. And they had the stuff with the lawyers and the campaign team and all that stuff, building up to having the paradigm shift banned. He's got Wardlow with him at ringside. So I guess the idea is they're trying to put Moxley at a bit of a disadvantage by not being able to use his main finishing move. But I ultimately don't think that it's the time to change the title from Moxley. He's been a strong champion, and hopefully we're starting to get crowds back, which I think will help a lot. So I'm going to say that he wins the match over MJF and retains the AEW world title.
AEW doesn't really do a lot of schmaz finishes, and I think that if you're going to have MJF win this one, it's kind of got to be a schmaz due to some Wardlow interference or something like that, or maybe I guess it also really depends on who wins that the Casino Battle Royals, where they're going to go with it. But I think you're right, because Moxley is still getting a hero's welcome whenever he comes out. He's and MJF, he is the future. Is he the now, Joe? Is he the now? I don't know. I think I'm really torn on this one because I still don't know if they want MJF to lose like this and then but he's such a good heel. It's like a Ric Flair. Like he could lose and then just talk shit and then everybody would forget, oh, we have a big guy. There we go. Chance, what do you think?
Oh, there he is.
So Chance is a huge fan of Moxley. So is Moxley going to win, Chance? All right, There it is. Jon Moxley keeps the AEW World Heavyweight title. I was torn down the middle. The big guy came in, gave me some advice. So I'm going with Jon Moxley, and then if they do have Darby win that Battle Royal, I think that'll be a nice little setup down the line. But MJF could talk himself back into anything and it won't affect him. So, and then he could probably blame Wardlow for the loss, and there's another feud. There's so much to go with, buddy. Love MJF. Love what he's doing. MJF is for the people. That's for damn sure. MJF might be for the people, but Jon Moxley is for the championship. So Jon Moxley wins on Saturday.
There we go. All right, man. Well, yeah, that's so that is the All Out card for this weekend. It's Saturday night at 8:00 is the main show on. I have no idea. Bleacher Report Live, BR Live, pay-per-view, Fight TV, probably all sorts of different places you can watch it across the United States and other countries around the world. So it is Labor Day weekend. So a lot of people should have an extra day off on Monday. Those folks. So no reason not to order All Out and watch it on Saturday night, or even watch it the next day if you're
by the show. Bleacher Report, you get free replays, I think, for 30 days or some shit. You know it's going to be a good show. AEW does not disappoint with their pay-per-views. They understand that if you're plucking down $40, $50, $30, whatever the hell it might be, they got to give you your money's worth. And I think looking at this card top to bottom, it's going to be a hell of a show on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to it.
There we go, buddy. Well, where can people find us on the social medias, my friend?
Well, actually, if you're listening to the Tony Khan All Out media call today at about 1:00, your boy's going to be on there, hopefully asking some questions. You can find us everywhere. I will be live tweeting the media call at 1:00 at All Night Long WP today. Facebook.com/All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. And be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and review on our parent company. What would you consider Wrestling Headlines? Your parent company?
Sure. Yeah.
We are part company, of the
Big Brother.
Big Brother. Speaking of Big Brother, you sent me. Never mind.
Yeah.
WrestlingHeadlines.com. We thank them for everything they do for us. Make sure you follow us along there on their YouTube. They have posted some really, really good content. And they're not one of those clickbait bullshit websites like Ringside News and that doucher Ryan Satin. So WrestlingHeadlines.com is where you can find us at All Night Long WP everywhere you're looking. And we will be there with you on Saturday Night Live. So another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. He is your host. He is a stallion. I'm the enforcer. For Chance, we're tapping out.
Now, with the best friends.